Alright, so last night we met again to go over everybody's budgets. Some of you are free and clear, Kelly being one of them, Matt being one of them. So, basically Craig we didn't touch because his is different kind of funding. So the biggest question we had was the airport, how'd you come up with?
And I'm not having a stroke. I just got out of the dentist chair, so.
It might be when we're done.
Chris and I met this today
Yes.
to review everything. Took a hard look at the fuel revenue because I know that was a concern. We dropped that, yet we anticipate it's going to be more than what we put. Only because we're being much more proactive in looking at our rates rather than reactive.
So the number,
So the numbers have changed.
yes, on the expense side, it's going to be changed to 100,000. On the, revenue side, it's 133,000.
And that's merchandise for resale is 100,000? Okay.
So you're not seeing an increase in quantity, you're just thinking you're gonna have an increase in,
Right.
you're actually, the way that's reading, that you're gonna have a decrease in your quantity bought.
Well,
And it's hard to say because prices are just so.
And the way they do it is, it's a 2/3, so whatever they buy it at, then the cost increase is another 33% on it. So they buy it at 67% and then they sell it at 100%. So that's how it typically goes for the airport commission. And that's their markup. Cat out markup is.
Okay.
And also I followed up about the AWAS. I called our city attorney, I called our airport engineer, I called the Iowa DOT, and I called the FAA. And they all have responded with the same answer is no.
That they don't share the cost. Go figure.
But I did follow up.
So what happens when we blocked them from using it?
According to the FAA, then you get, if you don't have your AWAS, then you won't be able to have an airport.
and I don't think you can block them because,
I
I know,
It's-
but it
it's all
goes into
public
a
domain.
centralized database and they just.
I get it.
I know.
Being a little facetious in my comments. So,
The other thing we did was, we took those 3 projects from the CIP and we put the city portion on the expense side in those capital projects to add the cost of that 97,500.
Keep in mind with those CIP grant, that money is guaranteed. It's not like we do the project and apply for it. We don't even look at it until we know we have the money.
Right, they are,
so you're already guaranteed all this money.
yes, because it's in the CIP.
It's there.
But
It is
if
there.
you choose not to do it, then what happens is the CIP just shifts another year forward. And that stays in because it is congressional appropriations. So because of that, it's the same kind of funding that's used to fund ECOG every year. To keep it going.
Well, that's a little different. That's kind of the answer I was looking for the other day.
Yeah.
How can you consider revenue and if it's not realized revenue? But if you would have said,
It-
it's already been guaranteed
there.
because of
Yeah.
our thing, that would have made a different
Yep,
story.
yep,
So,
absolutely.
Yep, and
But
typically.
just doing that, we went ahead and budgeted the 97.5 for our 10% match for this year rather than just letting it hang out there.
Correct. depending on fuel sales, it most likely could be less than that 97.
Airport questions, kids? Nothing from the left? Alright. So our other big one is police, I think.
Yes. You don't need
Oh,
any, is there gonna be anything for me later, or?
Nope.
No,
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly, you can go too.
You can stay too.
I think I'll go, but thank you very much, guys.
Thank you for coming down.
Yeah.
They like you better, don't they?
No, they want to get rid of me.
So we looked at yours, and I did contact the city attorney about the budget opening, and they recommended, or not the budget, the contract opening.
Yeah, I think that was the same thing from the union as well. They said you don't need to open up the contract, a simple amendment will take care of that.
Well, she recommended we don't do anything. So, again, as some of the other things, it can't just be a one-way street. And she goes, in order for us to actually get into the contract, if you guys want wages increased, then there would have to be a whole review of the entire contract.
Okay.
So that being said, we reduced the wages back down to what was contractually owed for our negotiations. We also looked at the addition of a cop car, another squad car. And we tried to take into account that you had 2 new ones this year and a truck not too far before, and had 3, so we were gonna remove that one out of the budget.
What
Apparently you guys
what
have kept it
truck
in
are you
there.
talking about?
Blake's.
That's not in our budget.
And so your department, right?
I understand that, it's a totally different budget.
Okay,
And
be that as may. You got
and-
2
and
new
I-
trucks this year, did you not?
Pardon me?
You got 2 new squad cars this year.
I did, and I'm not trying to argue, I'm just stating that it's not in the police department's budget.
Okay, we'll just leave Blake's out. That's what I said, but you got 2 new ones this year, right? And all we're saying
Yes,
is,
and that
maybe
was-
we're gonna
that
skip
was-
a year.
That was paid with the CARES Act money.
Again, we get that, but you got 2 new ones. Regardless of how you got them, you got 2 new ones.
There's not, okay, there's not a guarantee, that we'll get another one next year.
And again, right now, they have it in the budget. We asked for them to remove it last night, but they didn't remove it, not for some reason.
I thought that was still a point up for discussion. I don't have that on my list.
Last night, it was
No
coming.
car, and then 3% across the board for wages.
Well, then that's my error.
The plan was to phase 2 of the squad cars that we have out that are a 15 and a 16 that are on their second motor. The idea behind it is to more often, every officer that would live in your city limits would have a squad car for response time, backup time, and we're hiring officers every year, so a lot of our officers are working solo. I mean, we want to continue to have this argument. I'm tired of having to hire and train new officers, Mayor. I'm tired of it. We want a police department that operates at the highest level. We can't do that when we're continually hiring new people. We are going to start, the last umpteen times we've had hiring processes, we get nobody. And the ones you are going to get are going to have increased liability to the city. And I'm not saying that money is always the option, that's going to be the changing factor. But we're going to get killed by the county. It's just, you're going to continue to lose officers.
We can't compete with the county.
Well,
We better
let's-
try,
Well,
Tammy.
let's keep the county out. We're still less than city of Belle Plaine. They're not even certified, some of them.
So what's their whole business package? What's their whole package they give to their officers? Have you ever presented that to us?
I'll give it to you right now, Mr. Mayor.
Well, it's a little late, because
Well, I understand that, but sometimes it takes no.
You think you're tired of having the argument every year? We go to negotiations every year, and your
Well,
own employees negotiate.
I'll be honest with you, Mr. Mayor, it's kind of frustrating when we got the 10% through last year and then it got killed at union negotiations for really no reason. No reason at all. This is everything I put together. If you have questions, I'll answer them.
I don't wanna disagree with the city attorney with handling, contracts, labor contracts, but, I don't believe that she is correct
That what?
about not being able to,
Amend
negotiate or amend, the contract.
I didn't say she said couldn't do it. She should have recommended against doing it.
Why?
Because we just resolved one last year.
County did it to their guys 2 years ago.
I'm not the county.
Well, I understand that, but here in 3 years, the county deputies will be making up to $6 an hour more than us as base wage for an officer over 2 years of service. That's not including officers with 15 plus years. An officer with 15 plus years, starting July 1 of this year, is going to be making almost $42 an hour.
So how long do you think that's gonna be sustainable? How many openings they have over there right now?
Zero. They just
They have
filled.
zero
They just filled 2.
That's what I'm getting at. You're saying we're gonna lose them all to the county, but the county's full up.
Well, we've lost 2 to them.
A while back,
Yeah, it's
we
going to
did.
continue, Mr. Mayor.
So,
How many new hires have you had this year?
We've had 1. We've completely.
We're still trying to fill one.
So you had one full-time, Chris, I'm assuming.
Sky
full-time.
Academy.
Okay, and then you brought in, did you
We're,
bring up one of your reserves?
no,
He- that's
he
him.
is one, but, we've been fortunate to, hire already certified officers in some of those openings. And there's still a learning curve. They've gotta go through our program of, field training, to even be, on their own, even as a certified officer. So we have that downtime of ensuring overtime for the rest of the officers. They're getting tired of working the overtime. I'm having to come in. Ben's having to come in. Now, I appreciate this format. I don't know why we're having this format like this. Someone must have complained.
the comment was that they wanted to know what we actually decided on the budget. So there weren't,
In years past, it's just, we just do
That's
it
fine.
and
You
no,
know
there's
what?
no question.
Airport is none of my concern. I should have no opinion on that. Street department, I shouldn't have any opinion on that. Whatever they negotiate with you guys is what it is.
but we weren't going to just come in and have Scott come in. We weren't gonna have Matt come in by themselves. We just did, so the meeting, everybody came and we were gonna address them as we did, just like we did. So,
That's fine. Like I said, none of the other departments, not my business.
never said they were. At any time did I say your budget is dependent on theirs?
Obviously, it's somebody's, wants to know about our budget and what we're doing.
I don't think that's.
Where are you getting that from?
We already,
Okay, let's just stay on this.
So anyhow, that's what we decided last night.
Our goal here, last night, what we worked towards was not increasing the taxes on the citizens with everything else that has been put on them.
I totally get that.
And so that is how we came up with what stays and what doesn't stay.
And I I respect that, but don't take it out on your employees. From whatever happened in the past that didn't get upgraded, that we gotta all of a sudden now, implement increases. Don't take it out on the employees.
What are we taking out on it?
I guess, equal and fair wage for our officers. I'm fighting for my officers.
Nobody wants to do this job anymore. It's plain and simple.
You're not gonna have a police department. You will not.
And the people that have an issue with it aren't the ones answering doors with guys coming to the door with a gun and shooting at you. Who wants to do that anymore? I've had about this, I'm about done with it, to be honest. When Belle Plaine PD makes more than the Benton Police Department is absurd. That's all I have to say. I'm done.
Take the car out. Take the car out. Give my guys their increase.
Again, I cannot do that in a budget session. It has to go back through a renegotiation with the contract.
Then let's do that.
So then you should have come back in January and said, hey, we want to do this. Can we get the contract opened up? But you wait until budget time to bring it up that you want another 10% increase. We're on a time frame at that point, but no, you want to big it, and now you want to put it back all on us that we didn't give you a raise and you didn't give us time to do anything about it.
I did last year, Mr. Mayor.
You bet. And then we said, what are we going to do? We're going into union negotiations. Your team, your union representatives, negotiated what they had, and they were happy with it. They went back and got a vote from everybody on it and said, yep, we're okay with that. But now you're telling me this year, we're not okay with that. So all your guys that voted, okay, we're going to ratify that union contract last year, now this year says it's no good. Even though we left it open and added things back into it, like the extra vacation days, that because it matched our handbook. You got all those back, but you didn't really negotiate those in, but you know, before you guys signed it, you guys wanted those back. You got them.
I understand that, Mayor, and you know what? I'll take the heat for that. But we're not able to hire decent officers anymore. We're not.
You're not
We're
unique.
not competitive.
That's just it. You're not unique. It's a problem nationwide in every industry ever. I mean, it's not just you. We have problems hiring qualified people. I'm going to guess if Andrew wanted to go out and find qualified electricians, he'd have a problem finding them. Let's ask him. Ron down here, you know, it's not unique. And I am sorry that it is hard to hire police officers. I really am. We have done nothing but back the police department from day one.
I totally get that, and I appreciate that. But it's just we can't compete. We're out of the game. We are out of the game.
So we're willing to levy for $97,500 for the airport. What does that benefit the average tax-paying citizen in the city of Benton? What does the airport benefit anybody that pays taxes in the city of Benton?
Where was your argument last night, Zach?
This is the process, Mr. Mayor. This is how it works.
It absolutely is.
It is.
And
And
this
so
is-
I really dislike your condescending tone.
It's not condescending.
Yes, it is.
I asked, we had this whole discussion last night, and you were all agreeing
But-
with it. And
Oh,
now-
no. Just because I didn't speak up last night does not mean that I didn't, or that I agreed with it. When every other council member here is agreeing with each other, me fighting against the rest of you does no good.
That is what your opinion is.
And that's what I'm doing right now.
That's great. Thank you. So,
No issue. Let's tax $97,500, the citizens of Benton, for projects at the airport, but we can't levy an additional $50,000 to keep an essential service functioning. When I interviewed to all of you, I said that would be my number one goal, is to make sure that the citizens of this community have the essential services always. Who knows what the future of North Benton Ambulance is going to be? Guess who responds? Guess who responds to a lot of stuff?
yeah, you think I don't know that?
Well,
And again, I'm going back to the whole thing about the timing. he come back to us in January and says, this is what we're gonna ask for, it would have given us the aptitude time to get that and see if we could go open up a contract.
Did anybody else ask for wage increases back in January?
We do a 4% across the board, and Chris put that all in. And he puts that information out there.
Well, again, just like we talked about the doors and in City Hall here, and council voted not to go ahead and put those in for security. I said at that meeting, at some point, you have to take the individuals that you have hired to run these departments, you have to take their word seriously and give them what they need to succeed.
So this is an open and shut then.
Until you guys want to try and open up the contract, but you can open up the contract anytime. Zach brought that up last night. He said, we may have to open up the contract this year. And I said, yeah, we may. But to do it on a budget, I can't, not this late in the game.
That's not amendable, Chris.
Our time, it may not be enough time because everything has to be in the Haley by Tuesday.
But we amend the budget throughout the year, is that correct?
Yes, we do amend the budget throughout the year. But we have to have, of course, the revenues in order to amend it for.
And we have those revenues.
Yes, they were originally there. But it's always up to council's discretion.
I understand that. And the object is not to fight, guys. We're fighting for our employees. Your employees.
I brought the question up about how many officers Belle Plaine has compared to how many officers?
They got up to 5.
Okay, so they've got a smaller force, so they have a bigger money pool to pull from to pay those 5.
Smaller town, smaller budget. I'm looking for some help here. I really am. I don't want to get into a shout match. I thought I'd done it right. I pitched it last year at the budget, and that was even before our union negotiations last year because we were late on the union negotiations, like always they are. They're not without flaw on that, and I think they have inadequate. That's just the truth.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think on both sides, union side and on other sides. But I'm looking for help here with that. That's why I pitched it twice at the budgets to try to. I'm not trying to make up. We can't compete with the county. I get that. Just trying to close the gap little by little. And I thought this year was a better chance with the school picking up part of Josh's wage. That would factor in. That's where it's the 0.7% comes out of that, what the school would be reimbursing the city, and the rest is 0.29% to fulfill the 10% increase to start being competitive. Closing the gap with Belle Plaine and the county. The benefits package between us and Belle Plaine's a little different, but they're close. They're pretty close.
What kind of health insurance they have?
I couldn't get the coverage amounts, Mr. Mayor. I wasn't able to get that.
It's pretty comparable.
And then for the median range on that paperwork, that was from the percentage from the Esterville survey population. That's just the median range between them. I didn't want to throw a bunch of different cities on there, so I just took the median. And I'm still learning the process, like I know we did a letter of understanding back in the day where we changed our 8-hour schedule to 12 hours, and that obviously had to reflect vacation and other things. And I figured that would be the way that we could do this, is just letter of understanding to amendment of Article 8, salaries and wages.
question. If, Mike, if we end up going back to amend our budget, then next year you're gonna come back and say we need another 10%.
Absolutely not,
No.
that's ridiculous.
No,
That's
I'm just
absolutely
asking the
ridiculous.
question. I'm asking the question.
I entertain that question, but that's absolutely ridiculous. We're not gonna ask more than our means.
The only reason I factored in the 10% this year is because I factored in Josh's reimbursement from the school. I thought that was the best time for the city to do it.
Without taking a big hit or a bigger ask. All we're doing is asking you to approve our budget as presented. And cut the car out.
But you did throw in for Blake's,
Again, that's a totally separate budget. Am I not mistaken, Chris?
That is a different budget. It's in the same department, but it is a separate budget.
but Blake did not present to us, did he?
No, it would
That's
be,
That's
under
you.
us.
that would
That's,
be,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't want to lose Blake to.
I don't either, I mean, I've fought all these
And in
goddamn
fact,
years to get.
during the hiring process, the wage recommendation was a lot higher than what is proposed now. It was at 80,000. You guys were entertaining.
But he came in inexperienced,
And he started out with a lower wage.
Right.
He's doing a phenomenal job. Again, some people might disagree because they don't agree with the code enforcement part of it, but this city needs that.
right? No, like I said, I fought for it for how many years, and we got it, and
And I just want to bring him to a wage that is comparable than what's out there. And there's towns he could start today at 90,000 or better.
Webster City, from what I was looking,
Webster City.
I do know that.
Not that he wants to move to Webster.
right.
He's not looking for a golden egg, but I think he needs to be compensated for what he's doing and what he's taking on. And he's taken on a lot of tasks that you up there have asked him to do. And he's one of the most hated people in town here. He wears a target. He wears a flak jacket when he goes out.
Okay, so here's what I've gathered from listening to this. At this time, we can't do the 10% because of the contract that is currently,
You can budget it in.
It's
It doesn't
budget.
mean they're going to get it.
okay. Does Blake fall under that same contract?
No.
No,
No,
No.
so he's not under that contract.
No.
Okay.
no, even his IPERS is different. IPERS, because IPERS is, for the police department, is considered protected class, while just the standard IPERS is for everybody else. So there are two different IPERS rates as well.
How much was on his, sorry, for the percentage? Cause it looks like it was above 10% request on him.
Yeah, I don't have that.
How much what?
Chris?
12%.
Yeah.
12, thank you.
So just a question that's just been nagging me So, gone are the days where working in Vinton is working in your hometown for a good wage.
Mhm.
Nobody appreciates that anymore?
Half your department's not hometown. They're not from here, Dan.
But I sure would rather police here than in Waterloo or Cedar Rapids.
And Cedar Rapids officer makes $110,000 a year.
Yep. I don't know if it'd be enough for me to move there.
But that's not always the thing. They're just, sometimes they just get out of it as well, altogether.
And the thing about it is the mindset of a small town. There's no small town anymore. There isn't. We get everything. We don't get, I guess in moderation, we get everything that Cedar Rapids gets or Waterloo gets. We got all sorts of sick individuals that drive through our community to get to one end to the other. And we gotta deal with them. Our guys gotta deal with them.
You know, if we have a shooting or a stabbing, you know, we might have 2 officers if we're lucky. A lot of times there's 1. Then we have to try to call people out. Hence why we want more than 1 or 2 squad cars where guys can take them home, respond from home fully equipped. But Cedar Rapids, Waterloo, they might have 15 to 20 officers that arrive on calls such as that. You know, we don't have investigators that take on our guys' case, you know, to take on heavy cases. They do it themselves. They're more roundabout officers. But it takes time to build an officer to be able to do all that. And until you do that, you're wearing out your guys that have stuck with you, because they have to pick up the slack of a new department that's continually training new officers.
And I want you guys to be proud of our officers, proud of your officers that represent our city. I think I was talking to Ron or the mayor, as far as just traffic in general. Obviously, I'm looking into other resources for funding. So there's obviously speed cameras. The companies that I've dealt with, they said we don't need them in town here in certain areas because our enforcement is so great. We do a good job.
I'm very proud of all of the city departments. Without a doubt, that goes without saying. And the relationship that has been built between the police department and the citizens in the last 8 years also goes without saying. It's improved immensely, including with adding Blake. Because I know that while he is hated when he shows up sometime, you know, there's neighbors on 6 sides of that house that appreciate
Yeah,
him
absolutely.
showing up. So, yeah, I'm very proud of all of that. We represent the taxpayers, though. I mean, we gotta struggle here. It's a struggle.
And I'm a taxpayer too.
I know.
I live in town. You know,
I know.
As
I
we all
want to
do.
make sure that we have 6%.
We all do.
Yeah. And that's what we hear is I'm a taxpayer. So are we. We all have kids. The majority of us has kids in our school district here.
With the individual we're looking at now, non-certified, we will not have them certified on the road till late next October. We will go another year without fully staffed during the summer. That's 4 years in a row. 1 year we lost 5 officers in a 7-month period, 3 years ago. That kills the guys that have stayed here and have been loyal to us and to our city. They burn out when that happens. I'm not saying I know all the answers to how to run retention, but when they know they sit here and they know Belle Plaine PD's making more than them.
And the quality of officers, and I'm not downplaying Belle Plaine at all, but our officers are better trained, better equipped than Belle Plaine.
I know, but from my seat only, I'm looking at it as you guys are saying the struggle, competition with other towns. Every department that this city has that same temptation to go to another town, a bigger town, and make more money. Every department we have has that same struggle.
I get it, and I don't wanna downplay any other departments within the city or any other cities or whatever. If you're measuring that between law enforcement and other departments, not law enforcement departments, that's not measuring apples in apples. You're measuring apples and oranges. We are held to a certification. We're held, a lot of you guys, held to uphold our Constitution and the laws of the state.
Question. So if we budget for the 3% today, because that is what the contract states, they can still come back though and renegotiate the contract if they would like to, or do we need to budget for higher than that for them to come back and renegotiate the contract?
You can,
We will not have the funds to be able to budget them if it's not
So
included in
this was going, so that's where I was going to come in with the special levy amounts that we are already planning on setting aside. Is we add an extra self-insurance amounts in the event that the contract does get renegotiated to a higher amount, that we had those funds sitting in that.
yes, you can do that, as long as you do a budget amendment.
If it's already budgeted though, why do we need to do a
We-
budget
if-
amendment?
Cause it's in the special, it would be in the special levy instead of in the,
Correct.
Why can't it
But
stay in?
Riley, I'm assuming you're talking about making that adjustment before Melissa turns it into pay.
correct.
So we wouldn't
Well,
need it.
then
Oh.
you wouldn't need them in there ahead of time. But after the fact, you would. If that makes sense. After. If you hadn't pre-planned for it ahead of time. If you had not pre-planned for it ahead of time is what I'm saying.
Yes. Well, we might be here late tonight, kids. Got anything else you wanna talk about the police department, or?
The union negotiations I've never been part of, that happened a year ago, right? That's when this was all hammered out. It's tough right now getting this 10% raise, the negotiations. Arguments, I assume, a year ago. Trying to get the raises.
It was prior to the union negotiations because it was delayed. The union negotiations didn't schedule. They just were behind the ball on it again. You guys did put it in the budget last year, and then
Department heads were asked to delete or take out 4 or 5% out of their
It was-
existing
It was
asking.
It was 4% because of what happened in Des Moines with the change in the rollback number.
Yeah,
That
and
happened late.
so we did-
middle of
So we did that 4%, then you took the other 5%, or what, 6%? Or did you get 5? Other 5%, so we gave back 9% last year.
So again, we negotiated with you guys. It's not that we just took it. It was a negotiation.
No, I didn't say you took it, we gave it back. Chris asked for it back,
Yeah, because the state asked for it.
the 4%, but the other 5% from the 10% asking was given back.
Now we know where you stand, so.
I'm getting, again, this is, there's a big picture of all the vacation and I've never had a boss, so I don't even know half the particulars, but I understand that this has all been hashed out, wages and everything else, all the perks, all the benefits that maybe another department does not get, and that was all part of the negotiation during this contract. A year ago, it was okay. You gotta, I think, let us know ahead of time.
Trust me, we're not happy about it.
And I don't know what happened. I was
was not part of that. But, at this point, it's tough to change that contract when it's been hammered out a year ago.
But I believe that's what, Councilwoman Ms. Fulop is asking, is, we keep it in the budget?
Yeah, so we would have those funds in the event the contract were to get rehashed out and that amount would change, that we do have those funds available. Then, and if we have to amend the budget to increase that, we would have the funds. That's what we're.
You can do that.
I would appreciate that. And take the vehicle out. I care about the employees more than a stinking vehicle at this point in time.
Well, and I understand the contract, and your point, Andrew, but at the same time, you know, this $97,500 for the airport, when was the first time that was brought to your attention?
Yes. The airport, the way I understand it, and we're not talking, you know, the police, this is comparing this, of course. As far as I understand at the airport, whether you feel as though it's a benefit or not, some people do, some people don't, we're semi-stuck with it to support it. We have it, there are certain things that we have to support at the airport.
I would argue the same thing for the police department.
But again, I was not part of the negotiations. I feel like I'm getting a slice of the negotiations that went on right now. Not the whole picture.
We're not even there for that.
Okay,
We actually went through page by page of the entire thing.
that's the way I understand it. It's not a lot of fun, the way I understand
It's
it.
not a lot of
And this isn't a lot of fun either, and nobody likes it. But this is a small portion of the negotiations that went on a year ago to set the salaries. And it's tough to just a year later say, well, we're not gonna worry about that. Negotiating went on a year ago.
I understand that. They're not the ones asking for it. We are. I mean, it's our battle that we've had to wage. And I'm not trying to be sour here or anything, or sound like I'm whining or nothing, but just having to search for officers is just, and we can say, yeah, it's all about other positions. Every you know, part of the workforce, your job, everybody's job is struggling to find people, but it's worse. When I first got into law enforcement, 73 applicants is who I tested against. This last one we had 2, and we chose that for the city of Vinton, we would rather not hire either one of them. What's that say for our demographic for law enforcement? It's not really that good.
Well, we don't wanna cause liability to the city.
Alright, we're just circling the wagons here, so we'll have to take that into consideration here before we finalize everything. So
Thanks for your time.
basically on top of the 3%, they're looking for another $57,000, which is another buck to the property tax roll. You take out, if they wanted just to approve the budget amendment as a vehicle and everything in it, we'd have to add another buck.
57?
You're saying leave the vehicle out.
I said leave the vehicle out.
Yeah, take the vehicle out,
So that would just be 50
just do wages.
for the police department, because the other 7 is on the base. But it would take me as well for 7.
I thought I had 9 for Blake.
That's true.
And plus the, revenue come in for
Now 66,000 to 75. That's
For,
$7,000.
Josh.
Oh, no, I was including
School
3%
district.
at least, which is about 2K.
Oh, I just went for the whole increase that they have on everything.
Oh, okay, we did our number, okay.
So give me, since we're talking about it, let's keep talking, the K-9.
Gino's gonna be 10 this year. I had some questions about it. kind of goes with he's old. He's getting older. He had a shoulder injury last fall. Luckily, he just ended up being on 4 months. So he was down before he finally he stopped limping. Dude, I stopped doing bite work with him. I had him in and out of the vet several times. This year he had an ear rupture, where he was down for a couple months because I haven't had him have his ear cut open and stitched. I'm waiting for the insurance reimbursement for those.
Yeah.
Because he does carry an insurance policy. So, when I started K9, I was a senior police officer in patrol. Then I became a sergeant. Then I became a captain. And part of this whole spiel we've been arguing, I don't have sergeants either now. Eric had sergeants under him. He had me and Alex Reiner. I have nobody. We're so young that they need to learn how to be officers first before they become sergeants. So I'm doing what I did as a senior patrolman, doing what I did as a sergeant, doing what I'm doing as Eric did when he was captain. I can't also be the K9 program as well. It carries a $5,000 budget line item. I've some years I've spent quite a bit of it due to injury, and then you wait for a reimbursement, or for a certain training that I went to. We have selected a new K9 handler. Officer Smothers has wanted to take that on. I currently still have $6,721 roughly in the fund. We were going to fundraise for another $9,000 to buy a new dog. Most of the equipment, car's already ready to go. That car still has a lot of life in it. Essentially, we're looking to be $15,000 for the dog and training for him. He would field a new dog. I just can't operate as I was as a kid.
Our question was, is it a necessity to have a dog now? Is it getting the use that it justifies the cost?
Yes. Gino had 3 successful tracks. And he had 57 narcotics finds. For a small town, I say that's a success. And until someone shows me different stats of the town and Iowa our size, I don't know what to base it off of. It's always another tool we have. My scenario the last 2 years was just...
My question is, in your opinion,
Yes,
in your professional opinion, is it worth to have the K9?
Yes, Mayor, I did. Yes.
That's what I need to know.
Yeah. I didn't know if I was catching scrutiny or not, or what.
No, we're bringing it up because we don't see much about the dog anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if it comes down to more wages and not the dog, that's what, what can we?
Well, we're
cutting the vehicle out. That's a great help.
Yeah. So
if
when
we can get some more, we can.
When we first fundraised for this, we raised $30,609 from the generous people of Vinton. And I spent $25,543 of that with equipment for the car, and then Gino's purchase and training. The annual cost of him, of a candidate, really isn't that much. With my connection to CRPD, he'll train with CRPD at no cost, other than transportation there and his wage while he's a train. So I mean, year to year, we're not forking out a ton of money to continue the program.
So with Gino being 10, when is he looking at retirement, and when would you be looking at getting a new job? Like, what's the
So my timeline is I'd like to retire him
soon?
here anytime. I've been kind of putting it off just with other things. And the more I keep him in the car, the more he limps at the end of the days. I can't do it anymore to him. He is 10, he weighs 105 pounds, so in and out of the car as many times as he did. We'd be looking probably at a Belgian Malinois, one that had a little more smaller, more life to him. But I would assume all finance to him after that point. I'd pay for it.
Yeah, he just lets
Yeah, correct.
retires to his retirement.
And we'd be looking at buying the dog from a place here in Iowa. The training's a lot less. It wouldn't be $20,000 like it was out in Indiana. It would be $15,000. And we'd be fielding another dog into the program. And our goal is to do that through fundraising, not through budget. $5,000 in the budget is for emergency things and just what ifs.
It's just a thing that just doesn't get talked about. I'm in town every day, and the resource officer, I hear super duper great things all the time.
And I'll be honest with me changing roles so many, the twice that I have from patrol to sergeant to captain, that's fallen through the cracks on me. My priority fed into these other positions and out of that one as much as I had.
So I would assume if we got a new one and Officer Smothers took over, the dog would be out on the community again because that position is more.
He's still, he's in patrol.
Yeah.
I'm no longer in patrol. And that's common, CRPD. They'll buy a dog, 2 years later an officer gets promoted and they don't reuse the dog. The officer takes the dog, they buy it, and it's just how it's done. Obviously, we're in a smaller town, we have to do it with fundraising. And we're pretty successful with that.
If there's any questions about the department or how we run, please stop in.
That's good. Just a bunch of numbers.
That's all we've been doing for the past 2 weeks.
Kind of loose.
Yeah, we want to wrap up the rest of the departments.
What's your other equipment? You jumped up 10 grand.
That was tasers, in-car cameras, body cams, wasn't it?
That's our annual contracts for those services. Everything goes up, nothing comes down.
So it is 10,000. It's not 5,000 increase.
Pardon me?
It's a 10,000 increase, not a 5,000 increase.
I think that's including what? Should tasers?
It just says other equipment.
And I wrote in my notes, taser, in-car cameras, body cams, and
Yeah.
upkeep of
Yeah.
those
And data storage.
items. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's a big one.
And I've
That
seen
would
how
be
they
the big
work.
one,
They're
yes.
very cool and they're very necessary.
yes.
As someone who was tased.
Those
They're
keep
good
us
What
out
I'm
of,
getting at is, if it was 5,000, you lost a car and 5,000 out of there, that balances off the wage thing within your budget.
yes.
That's what I'm getting at. Which was our discussion a long time ago. So if we're gonna balance it out, we gotta balance it out within your budget.
Absolutely. I don't need that vehicle if it's not this year.
Okay, we'll keep that in consideration.
Thank you.
You guys are nothing now. You can hang around if you want. We're gonna discuss that here after that. So I'm just gonna try and cut these guys loose. I should have started with you guys. Matt, you're good. We didn't do anything.
I gotta run pickleball league and I didn't wanna go home, so I was like,
Scott, same thing. We didn't do anything with you. We kept the wood chipper in there.
We were going to find out though, did you get a price on them all having handheld radios versus us equipping?
We talked with, we did talk with Tom today, and he's shooting us a price. It looks like, it appears that it's gonna be more affordable to do the handhelds per individual than would be in the vehicles.
That's 6,000 actually accurate.
So when Tom and I talked today, he reached out to Tara at Raycom for a quote. She was out of the office. He tried to follow up a couple times today without response. His I mean, off the cuff number was 6,000 per handheld.
However, Melissa and I were discussing this as far as funding within the budget for these radios, these handhelds. And there is flexibility within your budget to pay for communication devices under debt service, or even for street department under road use tax and some of these other things, rather than just out of just straight up general fund.
I don't know that I wanna tap into his road use tax one anymore than it
Correct.
already is.
But if you are doing, let's say, down the road a street project or something else that requires debt service, you could potentially roll that into your debt service. Just
So
as an
the-
option to consider.
The initial quote Scott had in his packet was like 66,000, and that was just the streets. So if Tom's guess is in the ballpark, I mean, we're looking at 6,000 times 13 public works employees if you gave every one of them a portable.
Where are we gonna have them sit somewhere in there as they roll? Do we do?
So, I mean-
On the ground when they're done?
That's kind of what the plan was.
Yeah.
You know, that would for sure be a point of discussion.
So we need to reach out, I tried to reach out to Scott Hanson this morning, because I think they're getting a special price through all the EMA, are they not?
They're the contract price, yes.
That's the one I gave you.
And that was what?
That price is
I don't remember.
66 some thousand.
What's that?
66,000, somewhere in there.
Was the
That was just
contract.
for you?
Yes.
Just those.
Six
Two
times
handhelds and then outfit. I don't remember how many vehicles, but.
Right.
Craig's department would be funded like his other projects, so it wouldn't necessarily come out of the general fund for his. But we're not going to pass a bond just for handhelds. Like I
No,
said,
that's what I thought, if we're gonna keep it in, we need to get them into our, whatever you wanna call it.
Yes.
Special insurance or whatever the hell it is.
Self-insurance.
So
We all learned it last time.
Tom talking to
You
Tara
got an
is the
insurance
same
guy here.
point of
You're right,
contact
what's
that
self-insurance?
put together that first quote, so it's, I think it'll still be that same pricing. We just need
that paper confirmation from Tom.
Cause you're gonna start migrating into it soon.
April sounds like we'll be migrating into the portable units. They want us to use that as much as we can to get the bugs out. Then they'll transfer into the mobiles, and thank God that we're under the grant, so we're not having to shell out any money for those radios.
So your department's covered. You don't have to
My
worry about
department is
it.
covered.
How many did you say it was 13 of them and 6? Total if everybody had one.
78,000. You're welcome.
Am I right? Cause you have 7, right?
I got them all written down at work.
5,
Something like that,
6, yes.
And they might be able to change the model, because they don't need a gazillion channels like.
And that's what Tom relayed on to Tara, was that they don't need to be encrypted like yours do, and they don't need all of those bells and whistles.
So that price might drop down quite a bit.
Then the other street department's question, did we find out if those light costs can be moved or do they have to be there?
They are in there.
Just wanted to
But we're gonna start pulling money out of other people's budgets.
Well,
If we can.
hold on, I got something else for you now. Did talk to Kevin, and he went and took pen to paper and looking at the pilot money, the payment in lieu of taxes. And there was a readjustment that could be made, it just needs his board to make that decision. And it changed from 84 to how much, Melissa?
93.3.
You talked to him today?
Yes.
Cause I thought yesterday he said no.
Yeah, I know he said no, but then his board chair talked to him about some numbers, and he said, well, seeing how I'm doing all these numbers, I'll do this too, and update it.
Another $9,000 goes a long ways.
But I don't know how do we account for that, because that 84 hits my budget. It comes into financial admin.
It'll be the same way.
Now I have to give up my 84.
No, I got something else for you, so I'll get to it soon.
Matt, you can stick around, whatever you want. Scotty, you can stick around too, but like I said, nothing changed on yours. You're welcome to stay too, but we didn't do anything with you
I'm gonna
either.
stay for about 15 more minutes.
Is that what you,
As much as I enjoyed, you know, the healthy banter,
is that what you always wear to watch pickleball?
No, you went to
no.
Des Moines.
I had to
Say.
go to I had to go to Des Moines today.
Oh, was it your day on the Capitol too?
It's terrible, like it always is.
That's domestic violence day too.
But you know,
Whenever he has his white tie on, at least been to the Capitol.
I like it. It looks nasty.
easier to choke myself with.
You gotta go up to the hill yourself. You should go up to Des Moines too.
Okay, so none of that's changing, so now get your little screen up there, let's see what happened with everything. Let's see what our options are.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell these numbers and you flip the page.
I'll get it out.
No.
That's why I want to dump it off onto the county.
But all I've ever been told is how much we can do with that. Yeah.
I'm gonna use
You remembered your password.
I wrote it down for him this time. I mean, it could.
I don't even remember what the hell it was.
You can watch the YouTube from yesterday.
Yes.
Plus, I wouldn't even know how to put it in.
Okay.
We're all good.
This is what we were doing earlier. Here we are, budget summary, we changed the amount to liability, property, and self-insurance costs. It's been changed. Okay, so, what we have here, and, did we add in the back bill on that too? You did, didn't you? On the one page, you added it in, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we started on the, started with additional 87,757, then the police department contribution, we added another 64,753. Then Evergreen, we also added that in, a reduction of 10,000. Then we had something else that, should have been added in, and we did add that. It was under the revenues down here. The revenues are going to be operating transfers in, which is your rural fire from the townships, and also the,
School.
Yeah,
School
school
resources.
for the police department. Here is the backfill of $49,359. So I had to add that in. We also added the airport of 98.5. I had here 97.5, so it's 98.5, which gives gives you a total of additional $114,000. It should be $113,369. Then have to add the police department vehicle. That gets you at 165,369. Which 165,369. Yep, 443.
Did you say add?
You said add the police vehicle.
To the total amount.
So
So
the
it's
amount
gonna
that
be
was it
subtracted. I'm
reduced
sorry.
to is-
I'm doing debits and credits that way.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
So, because debits and credits are reversed normally, so that comes out to be, well, 165,369 is, with the backfill, is a total of 86.925146. Based off of your rollback.
Say that number again.
0.86925146. That you have flexibility. Remember, you're putting things in your special revenue, not in the 810. But we did follow council's instructions on property tax and have it at the same levy rate as it is currently at 15.685. We haven't changed that.
so what does that put in our special?
Where did you, so if we budget for a 10% increase on the police department, is that in here now?
No,
Well,
we
that-
changed that.
Well, that's what we need to see, because then that's gonna change what your special self-insurance is.
Okay. So,
Equates to another $57,000,
right.
and you just lost 52 of it by taking the truck out.
Right. So,
And if you just left it in there, we could probably get a close number to where we were, right?
correct.
We're just gonna play with numbers.
Expense. Okay. So that was a subtraction of 52. Let me see here. A subtraction.
52 for the vehicle, 50 was the difference between the 10% and the 3% raise for wages.
Okay.
Did you add in the school reimbursement to the city?
Yes.
It's down in the bottom.
I need to go back.
What is, there's 75% they pay,
Seven.
70,
Or yeah, it is.
It's on your
75, yeah,
worksheet.
75%.
75.5.
Your total difference is $57,300 or $57,400.80. Compared to what we had
I
originally
don't know.
budgeted at 3%.
it's changed.
Okay.
How long does that 75% cost share last for? Indefinitely?
How does that get
I
negotiated?
believe it's a 5-year.
5 year?
And this is year
This would be year one.
Okay, and then that's that, but then added that in, but have to take out 52 for the vehicle, correct? Okay.
So you should have just added in
400,
$408.80.
yes. It doesn't let you do cents.
That company.
What's that? Are they back to
Okay.
the-
That's, That's been changed. I think I have to see it.
But the state form doesn't work that way in the sense that you change your expenses, your levy rate doesn't just automatically.
It doesn't fluctuate at all because of that. That do is
So we still have to,
I mean,
we have to manually put that number in.
drove over today.
And the new one that the state has done now is that the legislature. We have to do these calculations this way.
I seen that one.
So it's not gonna,
But if you had numbers in there that are outside of
Brian's
that
gonna
levy
go out
rate,
and
that's
more.
oh, yes, it will, because outside the levy rate, it is on the property tax
I
side.
called it and never called.
So, you have to know what you're adding and
It was all
subtracting,
man, it
obviously.
wasn't any good, he said, right?
See, the goal, your amount is still gonna be
Did you tell him your man saying
115,
or something?
685, it didn't change because we did not change the, this special liability
You told him, so, but.
property insurance cost. Is that the
Man
section you
saying
wanna
the whole
change?
thing. Okay. So it shouldn't even be court out.
Is your property
Right?
insurance?
I'll find it out. He didn't call me back. We just need a number this past.
figured at about 150,000.
So he said.
We had it around,
I had
cause we have the 97.5 in there.
What you had in there, it began at 180.
But it's at, I cannot see those numbers to save my life. Is that 274? Zach,
Yeah,
you're right there.
274, 388.
Okay, so it increased because of, we took out the vehicle and we took
Well,
out,
That's not where it increases. But we can increase it there. We can do all that within that, right there. Yes. It is a very confusing thing, but follow me with this. Okay, I got it.
So the number she sent me earlier today
Yes.
was 114,369 was the total.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it was based off of the 87 that we added in there, plus another 64,753 plus 10, and then have the backfill. The backfill I had to put it in a different spot, but it's in there.
And that was because you guys kept the car in there. We would have taken the car out.
Right.
That backfill would have been up to $166,000.
Yes,
For the
160,
special insurance.
166,369, which equates to 87.45 cents on your limit at the bottom here.
What's that number now?
Oh, it's still at 56.
Yeah, that number said it won't change, but all your other numbers have to change somehow.
Yes, it would. But it would have to change in different areas of there. The problem was, and it was like I was saying last night, this number here I have highlighted on your consolidated general fund, that is locked. That does not change. It used to be, yes, on the old form last year and every year, you can change that. But now, because it's no longer an 810, it's locked. So you have to change in different categories, like the FICA and IPERS, the other insurance levies, those type of things, in order to have a change on your rate. In other words, the state farm is in a situation that you can actually go literally in the hole on it, and it won't even change your rate to the difference. So you have to be aware, which I'm aware, and Melissa's aware. Would you like me to show you what the rate's gonna be now with the changes that you've already done? Yeah, I can do that. Okay, let's just do that.
This was clear last night.
It's crystal clear last night, now it's not clear.
Yeah, I'm lost
What
again,
in the
so.
hell?
Want to drop that down by 87.45.
Your capital outlays for police department should have gone down by $57,000.
Oh, it did.
It only went down by 52, or did you put 57 in there?
I did. Under expense.
You took out the cop car.
Yes.
That was only 52, but they said they'd drop another 5 out of their capital outlay.
So another 5,000 would go down.
Yep.
Went down another 5.
Because all the numbers we just did there end up being net zero. So none of these numbers should change, so when you pop that number up, I should see $146,000 on it. Because it didn't change anything from this morning. We literally just moved monies around inside the accounts.
Right. You did move money around. So you're looking for just a what is it, the 165 number, or you're looking for 114? You're looking for the 114 itself? Guys, that is wrapped up in this number again. It's wrapped up in here. Combined with your regular insurance cost. Combined. That we had previously.
So the 114,369 is wrapped up into that.
Yes, it doesn't break that out. That's correct, right, Melissa?
I believe so.
Because that's exactly what it was. That's what we did. I mean, it's wrapped up in that, and also there was reductions on, like the Evergreen Cemetery. That reduction is inside of.
So you're telling me we have $160,000 in other insurance costs?
It was about 180 for actual insurance. And then there are other savings in the different sections of this form. So, in this form, let's see here, I'm going to cemetery, for example. Cemetery is an expense one, isn't it?
That gets.
Yeah, recreation parks, library services are there. I thought cemetery should have been in here, it should be 20. Instead of 30.
That might still be negotiable.
Right.
Might be back up to 30s, that you're saying? No. Might be going down for, never know.
Oh, yeah, I love all this zombie stuff. So, yeah, you have your backfill added in as well. And without the backfill, it's just 117.10, which is 61.5055 cents. Without the backfill.
So how do I go up $3,000 this morning? You just said 117?
That's without backfill. for the backfill because of the squad car was with that's what the squad car is. I have to do backfill without it, or without the backfill, without squad car. Backfill was $49,359.72. So I had that backfill. The Evergreen was 10,000 reduction. Police was 64,753. You had a starting buffer of 87,757. Remember, we started at 87,757. Okay, so police 64,753. Then Evergreen at 10,000. Then another backfill at 49,359. That gives you $211,869. If you add those things together, so it would be your starting insurance, your police department, your Evergreen, your backfill. It's 211,869. Subtract 97,500 from the airport. That gives you 113,369.
And that $1,000 difference between the one you gave me this morning is because you had 98.5 in the airport. So
Correct.
And that difference comes because the airport had, in their capital outlay, they had $1,000 already in there on hangar improvements.
Yes.
So that 97.5 from the CIP plus 1,000. So that's where that 1,000 is.
So at 113,369, you add back in 52,000 for the squad car. It gives you 165,369. Divide that by 1,902.43. And that gives you a rate. Because that's evaluation minus your rollbacks, and that comes out to be 87.45 cents per thousand. Because every penny comes out to be $1,902.43.275. That is including your backfill of $49,359 from the state of Iowa.
And that is 87 cents.
87.45 cents.
Thanks.
Yeah. Remember, you had me start at 15,685. $15,068.25. But you wanted a cushion, there's a cushion there, including backfill of 165,369. Divided by.
By how much? Because your number just changed again.
No, 165,360. What do you got over there?
Okay,
Maybe later. I'll keep you posted.
so,
Chris's or?
so that is a difference of 87 cents, 87 and a half cents. So remember, 165,369 divided by 1906.5324. Divide that out, and that should come up with a levy rate. Oh, I'm sorry. That's why, my confusion. Been a long week. Okay, let's try this one. This one here, magic number. Remember your magic number. Okay, there we go. That's it right there. 1,902,43,275. So let's do do the 165, 369 divided by 1902. 86.9, 86 cents, or 87, 86.925 cents. So that's your wiggle room there.
So that's how much of that 15.68 is going into the
Yes.
insurance. Great.
Exactly. Next year's backfill will be $10,000 less, and it's continuing on a $10,000 year annual drop. But yes, that's how much is going into that. Would be insurance and savings combined throughout your whole budget. Doesn't look like it's all in one place, but it's throughout there.
That's everything in a nutshell without raising the levy rate.
Correct. Yes.
Can I ask a question? It's an airport question.
Okay.
So, when they're making these decisions to apply for these grants to get this money, why aren't they, I guess, bringing it to our attention? Because that's 10% that they're expecting out of us without giving us notice until they've gotten the money.
Well, they are in a way, and they aren't. Yes, they're not coming and making a presentation to you. But in the CIP, that's the notice that's required, and it's 5 years out ahead of time. So every year they're doing the CIP, they should be making a presentation on an annual basis of this is what our CIP is going to be. 5 years out and plan ahead. Oh, yes, that's your wiggle room without lowering or keeping the same rate. What's up, bud? You want it in one spot, don't you?
No, I'm still trying to figure out how we got all the way up to 163.
165.
Or whatever.
165.
Okay, so remember, we had the insurance, and we added it up to get it up to the 165 from 122.
I just want to start with the numbers that I got this morning. I got $114,369. That included the backfill. Okay?
Okay.
The only thing we changed tonight was move some numbers in, side itself,
Okay,
and reduced it by $1,000 for the one you had in there wrong. You had 98.5 and it came down to 97.5. But now you're telling me my self-insurance all of a sudden jumped all the way up to 165,000 when it this morning was at 114.
Well, the only difference between the 114 and that self-insurance is the police vehicle. Which I had.
It was, but we just put that money back into wages. We didn't lose any money. We didn't gain any money.
Okay. Well then, but it's not, you put it back into the wages there. So.
Again, that's what I'm saying. So it's, our budget didn't change at all.
No, you're right, it didn't. So you are back at the amount, that
114,000 with
369. Yes, you are there. It was the squad car by taking it out, but I didn't put it back into the wages.
Yeah, you did. We sat there and watched you.
I know I just did it there. I didn't do it on my paper. But once I do it on paper, yes, and based off of that 114.
I need freaking breadcrumbs to follow this. This is.
So this morning I got a hold of Melissa and I said, what's the number? And she sent it over to me. They got it figured out sometime. And it was
114,369.
And that included the 49,359 backfill. We were overfunded by an extra $1,000, so that should have reduced that or increased that. I don't know which way you're going. And now we have taken the $52,000 out of the budget for the cop car and moved it into wages. So nothing changed there, and we took another 5,000 out of their other equipment and moved that into wages. So we have moved $57,000 into the wages and not increased the expenses at all.
Yes, and without the vehicles on that, with the 114,369, write it out, comes out to be 60 cents, 60.117 cents.
So this 86.925 is not.
That's not.
Our buffer is not 163. Our buffer is 114 or $115.
Correct.
Where it was.
Where it was before, everything.
And that's
For
leaving
everything.
the levy rate identical.
Yes.
Because at 60 cents, you drop that, and had no buffer.
Because this is the number I thought we would come into if we just wiped out the truck. I figured we'd be around the 165.
Yes, if you wipe out the truck, exactly. And without anything else, correct. So in other words, the vehicle itself, by itself, 52 by itself, is 27.334 cents. Cemetery is 5.2564 cents. The airport is 51.2502 cents. Remember, 1 cent equals $1,902.43.275.
Okay, so that's back to that. Until last night, we talked about insurance rates not being as high as what they were. None of those get calculated into the system, because that's where it all got said, we should end up around $150,000.
Yes, we were trying to get things all geared back down on the insurance.
And have we not done that? Because like I said, we shouldn't have, it doesn't seem like we've reduced our insurance numbers down.
No, we have not reduced the insurance number down. We will be getting to that, but yes, it was going to be in the 150 mark. We've just been missing in callbacks for tonight.
So when we meet again tomorrow night to discuss this, because we're going to, obviously, we need to have all these numbers figured in. We want to know what the number is. All the insurance and reductions that aren't in there. Based all on this, because right now we're still at that 114, we don't even know what it actually is going to be. We know we're not gonna go above 1568, we know that. We just wanna know what that buffer is. I'm sorry, self-insurance level.
Self-insurance.
Yes.
So that means you gotta get all the numbers hashed out, what you got for reductions and everything else, and get put into the budget.
So is the
Correct.
idea that the wages we're talking about with the police are gonna be in this special insurance or whatever that is?
No, they're actually in the wages.
They're in the wages now.
But that doesn't mean they're going to get them, but they are budgeted in there in case they're needed.
So we
You
haven't
don't have to
covered-
do a budget amendment.
In the event that they do the contract
I
negotiations,
okay.
but it's in their section instead of.
And if they don't end up using, it'll just go back into the unused portion of the general fund, would be my guess.
Let me ask Melissa, the insurance adjustments,
Yes,
did we do those?
lowering the, yes, we did,
Oh, we did, they're
Yes.
in this stuff.
yes.
So,
The lower number, the lower percentage from Charlie than what we had thought.
yes.
Yes. we
Oh,
lowered
okay, it's been.
So that's reflected on the worksheet already.
that. Yeah,
So the 114,369
Is accurate.
self-insurance.
yeah, we did that last week.
Okay,
Mhm.
we were
You
doing
did that when?
Last week.
I don't remember, what is today,
Wednesday?
Wednesday? Yeah, we did the lower amounts, I know we did.
So just so I'm clear, we just
If you are, by all means,
Yes, can you explain to me
wait
what
2
just
minutes till I
happened?
get back, cause I wanna hear it.
the raise for the police is not in the self-insurance, that is in the police's budget.
correct.
We don't put it in the self-insurance portion because
They didn't change their overall budget.
Yep.
They just took the vehicle and part of the equipment purchase,
Yep, and took that
It
out.
balanced out.
And we,
and that went to wages.
okay.
Squad versus having the squad car versus not having the squad car. That's the difference.
Yeah.
That is the absolute difference. That's the one thing. That's the absolute difference from
It's the
getting.
one thing that we've mentioned 90 times tonight. The 52,000.
Right, but
Correct?
it didn't disappear. It went into the
Right.
wages.
Yes.
Yep.
And if it had disappeared,
Then it would
Then
go
you'd
into the
be-
self-insurance.
Then it would
but
go
then
into
you would
the-
be at the 150 point.
Yes.
165.
165.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's how come. Got it.
Yep.
So in other words,
I have it,
in
but go
other
ahead.
words, if it wasn't there, if it was wiped out
Uh-huh.
and it didn't go into wages,
Yep.
you'd be at that 150.
Correct. Yep. We're there. We're all okay. Good. Everybody on the same page.
I honestly
Great.
understand that, that's, I've got that.
Go team.
So that's the thing. The insurance has been taken care of. Wages are taken care of. So yes, 114, 369. That's the airport. Got it.
Okay. So I'm not gonna be here tomorrow night. I will be at work.
I don't know if we
fundraising.
have to. I think we just got it cleared up.
That's good.
It's clear.
Clear. Everybody knows where stuff is.
Even I understand it.
Okay.
We're gonna have a
That
self-insurance
means
of
something right
$114,000 and that's it.
Yep.
And that 114 includes backfill?
Yes,
That includes the
Yes.
back.
yes. The backfill. The
That's the number you
supposed,
get.
supposed city managers hiding money when somebody needs a special project.
Which is going away.
Which is going away along with the emergency fund.
So then this is just a comment then for tonight. Going off of Zach's comments about asking our taxpayers to pay these amounts for an airport, I would argue that the airport is very much a privilege type situation where not everybody obviously benefits from it and not everybody uses it. I don't even think everybody even knows it's there. Going forward, I would like to see them actually present to us with what their plans are, what they are expecting us to pay, why they are expecting us to pay it, if it's a regulation issue that they need to get up to code with. I just would like more interaction
We've
from
asked,
them.
we've asked that anytime they have an item on our agenda, that somebody come, so we
Yep.
can ask questions.
Have an idea.
And they do not.
I just throwing this out. I think I mentioned this to the mayor before. But during one of our council meetings this summer, why don't we just have a meeting out there? Actually have a council meeting out there. They have internet. They can do Zoom.
We can,
Is it
but
Their
handicap
conference room is
accessible?
so
Is it everything else?
Yes, it is.
I know that conference room is really cramped.
We can have it out on the runway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we could. We could bring tables out there. Be
Okay,
sure it's
that's
nice.
great.
I
I
actually
just,
thought we ought to go to everybody's
wanna know
ward,
more.
at least for one meeting, and have a meeting right in the
On
street.
the street. Take
okay,
it
we're
to
have to
the
do that
street.
when it's nice out.
Yes.
I'm not doing it when it's nice.
We'll do yours when it's nice, we'll do Zach's when it's freezing cold.
Okay,
We could do that. We could actually have council meetings out on the street.
sure could.
And we could close the street down and have it in a neighborhood if council wishes.
Do we
Just
have to
an
get- do we
idea,
have to get a
just a thought.
permit for that?
probably.
Probably.
Special event form, close the street.
No, I'd want to.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a program called Take It Into the Street. Some cities do.
Okay, I'm on board.
You guys could
But
host
yeah,
it in
no,
your
I
house.
would like more interaction explaining why we are doing it, why everything's happening out there, because it is a huge chunk of money that we're asking a lot of people to.
And back to my whole Brian Parr comment, that's why I said last night, it should be regional. Why should we eat all the cost for something the county gets to promote as well?
Talked about.
And somehow we're gonna have to make it happen, because It's true, it's a money pit.
It sure is.
I think that's something we should put on the airport board, is to have them start presenting to the county. It shouldn't be our task alone to do that.
It absolutely should.
Just speaking out loud, the K-9, if we can talk again about it, what I would like, my own thing is, before we spend any money on the next dog, before we spend money on that, let's talk about if that's something we're gonna do going forward. Yep, I hate to get in a position where I'm sitting here going, I'm not sure it's needed, and then we have a meeting that's like, well, we've already done this and we've already done that. You know, I don't wanna waste money, pulling the plug on something. And believe me, I'm open to a discussion on that. It's just, I like to have that discussion when we have time.
If it wasn't for rollback, just all this little tidbit.
It's not gonna make me feel better.
It would be this instead of this.
Yeah, you're not making me feel better.
But it's the truth.
Chris, everybody understands it. I understand it. Shut up.
Okay. This is mine.
You said the city budget's about 5,000 a year towards the K-9. Is there any way you can go back retroactively and look up over the life of Gino how much
We've actually spent each
we've
year.
actually?
1,000 and year to date, you're at $450.
So I would say it ebbs and flows and eventually balances out.
Minimal.
Obviously, he doesn't need a
And
surgery.
it said it was
every
all
year.
privately raised last time.
Get lent out to other agencies.
We've helped State Patrol.
Had that one guy run out in the cornfield that knows.
Now this guy had a
You guys
mental
don't
health
remember
breakdown.
too well,
He finally came out of the cornfield, bud.
Yeah. I guess I don't know if I.
I'll respond to that is
But what-
exactly
You
this.
remember the first aircraft
I'm in
that
town
landed
every day
at
of
our
my life.
runway? It was a jet, the first jet that
I
landed was
never
filled with drugs.
hear
Yeah.
or see the dog.
And it was a Vinton.
I would argue
I'm
that I
just,
see
and I'm
it.
saying maybe that's for a reason. Maybe
Well, up until the last year and a half, he was out at
And
night.
they bought the farm right
And I would
next
even
door.
argue every time
I
see
think
you,
it's just a
I try to
matter
Put
look
up
for
all
Gino.
brand
I
new
like-
fences and could not figure out
I
this.
like the dog.
Yeah,
I like having it.
if it's
I
a
think
resource,
huge perk.
if you
I don't think it's
if it's
cost
a
negative.
resource, if it's being used, great. I mean, very sincerely, I just
Well, yeah, stop and
Yeah.
talk about it.
well, I mean, if
No, and I think, ultimately, a huge part of it is officer safety in certain situations where a dog can take the risk rather than a human being.
yes, it can
Well, I mean,
and does it. I mean,
For instance, one of his tracks, the one over in Traer, started as a vehicle pursuit the county had over by Cedrell, chased all the way through the county, down through Traer, you go south on 63, wrecked into a house. Deputies on foot looked for him before I got there. And I asked the deputy, I was like, where did you last see him? Well, he ran by that pine tree right there. We had the guy in custody in 15 minutes of Gino. Tracked him all the way through 2 blocks through a house and found him hiding behind the air conditioning system.
So if it's still like a debate thing, though, I'd rather we get it resolved soon because Gino is almost 10 years old. He's
It's
at a time where I'd like to see him retire and live out.
well, and
a
if he
couple years
retires,
just
I mean,
chilling.
they are a tool. I love dogs. He's a tool. Yeah, I think we discussed retiring, and I'm not discussing or saying it's going to be real quick with the fundraising. We want to start as soon as we can because the class is in September. So.
it's a resource and it's another. How big of an expense it is what it is, but it's something I just want to make sure we're utilizing.
More discouraged about the 47 drugs they pulled out of town already.
57.
Whatever it was. That's disturbing.
It's everywhere.
I remember when you were putting drugs in places, and then
It's
there was some in my office I didn't know were hidden. And then he
Oh,
just
that's
looking through-
fun.
I'm like,
Can you
what's
do
the
that
dog
again, but
doing
let us
here?
know?
It's a never-ending battle. We're never going to win.
Like, what's going on? There's drugs in my office, what's going on?
We're done.
So just for me, so I can relate it to the chief, what do we need to do now with our, do we have our guys approach with the letter of understanding?
I'll have to find out.
That was I talked to a union gentleman today about it, so that's pretty much what we'd have to do is request an amendment to Article 8.
We're not meeting them.
No offense, I don't trust your union guy.
It's not the one they have, totally unassociated with them. And he's not my union guy, I'm not in the union.
I get that, but again, I'll have to talk to Holly and see what she thinks about all that.
So tomorrow, no meeting, right?
No.
When are you gonna discuss the water and sewer? You said you.
I said that right at the beginning. I said you're a different fund. We didn't do anything with it.
Good, Craig.
I wanted to yell at
Get it over with.
I did already, quietly over here. I told you what you have to do and what he has to do. Otherwise, he will not dig in this town again.
Good.